Day 184, Banc of California. Not BANC. I know that there is a new entity that's how they spell it. So what I'm talking about, the bank I'm talking about in this video, no longer exists. It's become a different entity. This entity, BANK of California, was started, if I'm not mistaken, 1856 by a group of bankers, so some banking entity in good old San Francisco, California. And kind of what started is that one of these individuals in the banking firm that started this, what they call, I've heard some historical documents refer to them as the ancestors of the bank. Because, I don't know, I guess these things become so large and ginormous that, yeah, anyway. He literally sold shares of the bank, $100 a share, to like the top businessmen in California. The first president of the Banc of California was a guy named Darius Ogden Mills. I'll get back to him. Again, I could make a whole video about him, but I won't. So the Banc of California was instrumental in the Comstock Lode. It foreclosed on a lot of these mines is how it made a lot of its money. I didn't cover this in the Comstock Lode video because I wanted to talk about it here. And it also approved loans that it knew were bad loans, and then it would be able to then go and foreclose on. So what I'm getting at is that the Banc of California historically was not the most ethical structure. It's history. It's unfortunate, you know, it is what it is. I shouldn't put it that way because people were affected by this. But again, when you have the privilege of reading about it from a historical perspective, it's actually wild, because some of the biggest names, arguably like all or most of them that you hear about in places like universities, Congress, the government, all came out of this, what I'm describing right now. And the Comstock Lode was so important that even though the main branch was in San Francisco at Samsung in California, it was literally called the most handsome, pretty building in the entire country, made out of stone that was quarried from Angel Island. Pretty sure I've done a video about that. What they call the Ellis Island of the West. Building doesn't exist anymore, destroyed in the earthquake and fires. So again, I'm barely scratching the surface because the story of this place is so fascinating. Again, Comstock Lode, Banc of California is credited with like financing and really developing what they call the West, right? The American wild, wild West. So there was going to be a run on the bank. I think it was 1875. Because again, these people weren't making the best business decisions. They were being greedy little capitalists. Like, anyway. So in the middle of the night, there was going to be a run on the bank, which, if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure is when a bunch of people come and cash out all their money. And because of our reserve system, you only have to have a certain number of cash on deck. So if enough people come, the bank's going to run out of money, right? So again, there was rumored that this was going to happen. So in the middle of the night, these bank leaders went and bought something like $1 or $2 million in gold bars, displayed all these gold bars in the teller windows. So then the next morning, the people came, saw the gold, and then decided, not to pull out all their money. So they averted the run. Again, I'm barely scratching the surface on how insanely crazy. Look up the guy who they kicked out and then went swimming and died of a stroke, okay? I'm gonna finish this video by talking back to Mr. Darius Ogden Mills. Guess who the city of Millbrae is named after? Guess who the Mills building is named after? The only reason I'm not giving this guy his own video is because he's not a San Franciscan. He moved back to New York. Rich guy, rich brat like every other one of these people. But I've talked about this in other videos, and he is the guy, that guy is the guy who still haunts the Mills building to this very day.